Hi, this is Laurie,
This is Peter.
and we're with Action Heroes LA, and I just screwed up. We just did a whole review, and I did not hit record. And
Well,
this
that's
was-
okay.
Anyway, that's okay. We're going to do it again.
Yeah, because I'm happy with watching Renfield again.
Happy with reviewing Renfield again. So, surprise, the movie we'll be reviewing today is Renfield. This came out a few months ago. Did someone just knock on the garage door?
No, that was a trash can.
Oh, somebody's drinking it. Okay, never mind. It's all kinds of things here at Flight Pass Studios. Anyway, Renfield came out a few months ago. At the time, I thought about going to see it. I was kind of interested. Then I heard some of the reviews saying it was kind of so I decided to pass on it at the time.
Well, I didn't know anything about it.
Okay.
Didn't hear anything about it.
I was seeing the previews for it. So.
But I was glad to see it. It's a take on Dracula's original partner.
Anyway, so Hamilton suggested this to us.
Uh-huh.
Good old Hamilton. He said he asked us, had we seen it? He really enjoyed it. So we decided to check it out a week ago. And so, what did you think? This is a take Renfield. Who is Renfield? You want to tell her?
Okay, well, he was this real estate agent.
You as the fan of the Bela Lugosi's
Bela
OG Dracula
Lugosi,
movies.
OG Dracula.
Yeah.
He was a real estate agent who thought he was going to get rich off of Dracula by,
Dracula would help him by. He's
he's going to buy a mansion and villas and everything else. He was thinking he was going to use
Dracula's power and influence.
And Dracula used him.
Yeah, this is a really fun, interesting take on the concept of codependent relationships with narcissists, toxic relationships, and then taking it, the fun twist is like it's between Dracula and his assistant Renfield.
Right.
And particularly because, I'm thinking of Hollywood, they have the whole...
Yes. And back
writer
when
strike and assistance
this all took place, and of course toxic. Dracula goes into what would you call that? Hibernation?
I guess so. He
sleeps.
Hi, Big Jim. Ginger's
here. And so that's when we come up to it's nowadays.
Oh, they've been together for was it a few hundred years or a few decades? I forget. This Renfield.
Well, 100 years at least.
100 years at least.
Yes.
So in their modern times, they go to New Orleans, and because Dracula's there, they've been driven out of other places they've lived.
Yes.
So so this
Dead
is
men tell no tales in New Orleans.
Pirates. Okay, gotcha. All right. So anyway, Renfield, starring Nicholas Hoult. Nicholas Cage is in this as Dracula. Awkwafina. And so, thoughts? What did you feel? How did you like this?
Well, I thought after I filled up my bottle of water.
Okay.
Then
they are not paying us to name drop them.
I thought it was a fun movie.
You enjoyed it. You enjoyed it quite a bit.
It wasn't great. I think they should have slapped a few more bugs on the walls and let him eat them, except the ones in his.
That one
purse.
Detail that just solidified it. It's like if you're gonna have Renfield, he better be eating some bugs.
Yes, and at the bottom of the stairs, he should be laughing.
He should be laughing at the bottom of the stairs. Okay.
Go see the original.
Yeah, I will defer to you on the original Draculas. And, the only one, I don't know if I've seen too many other than Bram Stoker's Dracula with Keanu Reeves and Gary Oldman as Dracula. And I mentioned the previous Dracula from around 1979. Excuse me, got some hair was blown into my mouth. I can't think of the actor's name, and I still didn't get a chance to look it up.
I didn't even know they did a Dracula in 79.
You will be surprised. Look at the guy who starred as Dracula in 1979, and then look at his later roles. They're just like, that's the same dude? I can't think of his name.
Bela Lugosi was Dracula.
Okay.
That's just it.
So anyway, Nicholas Cage is Dracula. What do you think of him as Dracula in this? I thought he was great. I thought he was a lot of fun.
He's definitely Dracula, and he definitely has an attitude.
And he's definitely a narcissist. So anyway, I wanted to Nicholas. I thought Nicholas Hoult was great as Renfield, trying to get out of this coma. He realizes after all these years his relationship with Dracula is very toxic. He demands a lot. We've all had these kind of these people that just anything and everything. It's never enough. It's just like you do one thing and then couldn't you have done it this way or that way? Can you make it this way? It's like what do you want? Blood? I guess so.
Yeah, in Dracula.
I guess you do. But those people that drive you crazy. They ask you for one thing and then switch it on you at the last minute. And anyway, so it was fun. They did the whole codependent group therapy scenes with Renfield.
Yes, which the thing that I liked about it is that the way they took the codependent thing and fleshed it out in modern times.
Yeah. Well, codependent group therapy is pretty much modern.
Yeah.
And narcissism is pretty much a concept that's very current. And, I mean, not that it's always been around, but particularly nowadays, it's something that's really in the sort of zeitgeist, as you would say. So those are the things I liked about it. I thought their performances were really good. Awkwafina is always also in this, and she's an actor who can be a bit divisive, either lover or hater kind of thing.
Yes.
And I'm okay with her. She doesn't bother me. Her personality, her voice, her whatever, in movies. The only thing, she was funny in this. She did some good funny line deliveries. The only thing I was bugged by a little bit is compared to being next to Nicholas Hoult or Nicholas Cage, is like she really doesn't have the acting chops to kind of bring a deeper emotional level to her character in this.
Well,
she doesn't display them.
I would say that's correct, but then I wonder in this setting if she was supposed to.
I know she's playing kind of a tough cop too, but it would have been helpful that she
a tough comedy cop.
A tough comedy cop, right, and stuff. It would have been, it's just she just kind of blank and stares at some of the more emotional scenes that are happening with the other characters, and she's kind of not engaged. So the other thing I was kind of bugged by was bugged by and not bugged by. The violence is kind of like video game level. It's a very violent movie because I was thinking, it's like, maybe this is something my mom could watch, and like within the first 5 minutes, I was like, nah.
Well, you see, I didn't see it as a violent movie. I saw it as a lot of unnecessary, but not real.
Yeah.
Blood,
it was graphically violent, but unrealistic at the same time, like I call video game violence. There's a lot of blood being splattered around, but it's almost as soon as it splatters, it kind of like disappears, like it was never there. It's like nothing gets splattered on people's clothes so much. You might get a drop. It's like, you got to be kidding me.
Yes.
There'd be blood all over the place after what just happened.
It's the type of thing, if you got a pin shot at your neck and you went like that, but you could tell that there was a hose behind your neck, squirting every now and then, squirting this large amount of blood, and you go, that ain't right. You could tell this wasn't a very high budget movie. It was, I'm pretty sure they filmed it in New Orleans, and I mentioned it's not a very pretty city, but pretty girls, of course. But anyway, it's not an attractive city, but it's shitty almost. But it's a cheap place to film it, and low budget. You don't mind the budget because the concept is so fun, and you do have some good performances. Yes. The final thing, my final note was the reckless trauma, because it's of a little nitpick I have with movies. Some movies nowadays of trying to have a character be kind of like a moral, trying to be good or moral or concerned, and then they end up killing all these people, and then they never, without any second thought. And this one, in a particular scene where
some bad cops who are working for Dracula, with Dracula and the mob boss lady who was in this movie, who I forgot to, we mentioned that the last time. They're going after Renfield and Awkwafina, and they're at his apartment building, and there's a kid and his mom live in that building, and they are just as they're outside, just as these people are about to attack, and all of a sudden, this bloodbath goes on. I'm like, that kid's gonna be horribly traumatized after all this. And the movie doesn't think of it. They never go back to that. They don't mention anything. They don't, and being that it's a comedy, being that the violence and the blood is very unrealistic as well, I can see why not, but I just kind of wish there was a little more responsibility taken for stuff like that.
Right.
It's just that. Anyway, that's just me. It's starting to bug me. It's,
Yeah.
It's like,
but
Guardians of the Galaxy 3, when I mentioned, it's like, oh, they did this whole movie about animal cruelty, and then at the final, the post-credit scene is them going to shoot up some animals. It's just like, what are people doing? I wish movies would be a little more careful about that type of stuff. So anyway, any final thoughts for Renfield? Anything we didn't mention?
He should have ate more little bugs.
More little bugs.
That he slapped off the wall himself.
Well, he was trying to refrain from eating bugs because he knows they give him his power and his craziness. Mm-hmm. So maybe that's he only did it.
Yeah, but they're just
when because he even apologized for eating one but he needed to get out of a bad situation.
Yeah.
And then he ended up slaughtering a bunch of people. See what I mean?
Yeah. Kill the bugs, eat the bugs, slaughter the people.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, but you wanted more bugs.
I wanted more little bugs unseen.
He was a reformed Renfield. He had done all his bug eating in the decades before in service of Dracula. He was tired of that.
I don't know. He had some pretty good sized roaches.
Oh, God. Yeah. Well, that doesn't appeal to you. So, like I said, this was in theaters, and I thought of seeing it then. I'm glad I waited till streaming, because while this movie it has some heart. Mm-hmm. It's a very fun concept, unique concept. It doesn't quite rise above mediocre to me, so I don't. The critics were like, weren't off, but it was fun. I didn't mind seeing it on streaming.
Yes,
so,
I had fun with it.
Arf, come here. So yeah, it was fun. I'm glad I didn't go to the theater and see this. I'm glad I rented it at home and watched it that way. So Renfield is streaming somewhere on a computer near you or your whatever devices you use. Any final thoughts? We out?
We out.
Check it out. If you watch Renfield, tell us what you thought in the comments. And we out.
Yes, we out.
And we recorded this one. I see the red light.